5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. Now, here's Tom Silverstein.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. We are getting down to the nitty-gritty here.
Yeah.
One regular season game left. Seems like it was just like summer behind us, you know, not that long ago.
Yes.
And now it's crunch time for the Packers. So here we are after a 27-25 loss to the Minnesota Vikings. And I think there were a lot of people who either underestimated the Vikings or
You think it's somebody
overestimated the Packers. I don't know.
Two things can be true. Because I think when you look at this, the North, you have 3 teams with at least 11 wins. There's not a lot of daylight between those 3 teams. It's just that Minnesota and Detroit, they figure out ways to win games.
Yep.
Whether you're good or bad. And they're a little bit more seasoned. The Packers, being the youngest team in the league, yes, you're supposed to line up all sides. Yes, you're supposed to not cover the right guy. Yes, you're not supposed to throw it. That's all baked in the cake. But the thing about it, the on-the-job training is, if you want to win a Super Bowl, you got to beat one of these teams in the future.
No question.
1 and
Probably
4,
2 of
right?
them.
And you're thinking, okay, Chicago's gonna get a reset. We'll talk about them later. But Minnesota, to me, is a team, is a tale of 2 halves the first time. First half was like, oh, they played their worst football. Second half, they played better. They scored 22 points in the fourth quarter the first time. This time, they scored 15 in the fourth quarter. So why is it taking so long to get going? And I think that Josh Jacobs' fumble took the wind out of the sail. There's no surprise attack now. We can't use what we did in Seattle, and that was to run the ball, get him 9 touches pretty much the whole way down, score. And I think that can be frustrating to people because you're thinking you want to be an elite team and you're on the ascending going into the playoffs.
I don't understand exactly what's happened to their passing game because it's not like a ton of stuff is different. You know, they were missing Christian Watson, which he has become their big play guy. Yeah. They still got Tucker Kraft, who, you know, seems to make a big play every game. But they can't seem to get a lot of big plays out of Jaden Reed. Dobbs is, you know, kind of there, kind of not. And Wicks has not really developed the way they want. And Love isn't playing as well as he has in the past. I'm not sure what the issue is. How much of it is that they're just a different kind of offense, reliant on Jacobs? I don't know. Do you think that's part of it, or excuse me?
That's a good question because I think that's where you have to start. All 32 teams, whether people like it or not, you have to talk about the quarterback first because that could be 20% of your cap. So what, I don't know the percentages, but whatever.
Yeah.
So you're in the playoffs because either your quarterback's bad, you're not in the playoffs,
right?
Or your quarterback's fantastic, you're in the playoffs. So he's a good quarterback. But after the bye, things started to change, and he was managing the game fantastic.
Right.
It's on with running game. He got no interceptions. And you remember a couple weeks ago, play action. You got Watson on a corner route, didn't throw it.
Right.
He threw it to Kraft.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a touchdown. And you have to coach him hard there to say, you got to believe you can make that throw. Or in his explanation, it kind of made sense to a player, but it won't make sense to the camera, the media, and the fans Because if a guy's open, you can make that throw. You got one of the best arms in the league.
Yeah.
So you have to think about this. So what I did was I went back and looked and thought about some things. Remember when Fritz, he called smoke solid B. I'm blitzing in the B gap. So I'm running in there. We're playing San Francisco. He told me in this formation, it's going to be wide open because they're going to slide towards Reggie. So you go in with reckless abandon.
Okay.
And get a sack. When I go through that time, I stop. The hole opened up, just like he said. I didn't pull the trigger. I said, why didn't I just go? And it would have been a sack. The quarterback was patting the ball and threw for a 15-yard in route. And he came to the sideline. He said, I'm not going to call another blitz if you don't trust me and go. So I know what he's thinking. I don't want to take a chance. I'll just take the big game, because it was a big game. So that could be, LeRoy, that's a stretch.
Well, are you saying that he's pulled back a little bit because of all the interceptions to start?
Yes.
And now he's a little gun shy, not, just making sure he doesn't turn the ball over.
See, managing the game to me is not a bad thing. What's something I wanted to do before the game, run a 2-minute offense. In the fourth quarter of both of these games, when it's all on him, he's magnificent.
Yeah.
He makes all the throws.
Right.
When he has nothing to lose, he just lets it go.
That's true.
So you got to get him in that mindset. After Chicago,
right away.
Lose or go home.
Yeah.
Now he's going to play amazing.
From the very first series.
Yes, from the very first series. Listen, 10, it's all on you. Josh Jacobs got us here.
Yeah.
But it's on you now.
Right.
So I think the urgency of letting him, because we did that with Brett.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah, we did that with Brett because Brett was just, West Coast, they just brought it in. Mike made all the calls. Remember Sherm, coordinator, they did everything. Then all of a sudden, Mike did this in practice on you. And Brett was like, huh? It's on you.
Right.
On 2-minute drill, today is on you. So Brett called his plays.
Right.
X, Fox, Y hook, 2-jet Sally, which is a screen, Texas arrow route. He did all the routes he liked, and then Mike said, okay, I got it. So we waited like 8 weeks later, and we threw that on San Francisco. They had no idea because Brett was hurry up. It was a team that blitzed us a lot.
Yeah.
Teams that blitz a lot, you do a hurry up on them. So that's what I want the Packers to do to Minnesota.
I agree. I thought they could have gone up-tempo a little bit more.
Yes.
Get to the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
Make Minnesota, who has to set up, has to make sure they see everything. They got multiple guys playing multiple positions, so they have to know where they got to be. Yeah, I agree with you completely. That up-tempo
And they have to look to
been.
the sideline. Even the guy with the communication, he got to make sure everybody gets the call. What if that one corner over there don't get the call?
Yeah.
Touchdown.
Yeah.
So the up-tempo, even if a team knows it, Jim Kelly, you knew they were running that K-gun stuff, but you couldn't stop it because I never had a chance to regroup or substitute.
Yeah.
But Brian Flores, let's be honest, has had Matt LaFleur's number. I think Matt would even say that. Because when they said,
I think he has the last 2 games. I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or 3 of the 4 games they've played.
What? That's 75%.
Yeah.
You got to play this guy all the time. If he gets a head coaching job, then different. But my point is this. When Matt said I'm paraphrasing. Tell me what he said. Was he shocked they played man-to-man?
Yeah.
Or
he just said, they were surprised. They played more man than they were expecting.
You know what your receivers heard when he said that?
What?
There's no daylight. I can't get open. I would have said something like this. They gave us some stuff we wasn't ready for. Give them credit. But when your receivers hear, can you imagine what Sterling Sharp would say, or anybody? They play man-to-man. That's what I want. Right. I don't want zone when you got the 2 guys. I want them guy playing man. I can beat him. But your receivers are like,
they got to be eating that up. I know Romeo Doubs does. He loves man coverage.
Yes, he had 13 targets. He caught 8 of them. But
the other guys,
you got to separate.
Yeah.
And that could be something Jordan's like, okay, separate. And I'll
Maybe
give you
he's
the ball.
not seeing enough separation, given that he doesn't want to throw interceptions.
Yes.
I don't know. I also think that at this point of the season, you got to scheme some guys. So Minnesota spends the whole game scheming Justin Jefferson to get open, right? That doesn't mean he's getting the ball, right? I mean, half the time, Jeff Hafley's taken away what they want. But what does that do? Where does that leave Justin Naylor and Jordan Addison?
Yes.
You know, so scheme for Tucker Kraft and scheme for Reed, and then maybe the other guy's open. I don't know if it's as simple as that.
It is simple as that because if you look at the game, O'Connell,
O'Connell.
You got to give them. They get paid too. Look at the sideline. When they got the Naylor touchdown, as soon as they knew that 20 was going to be at safety, we're going to isolate him. We got trips right. Justin by himself on the other side.
Yeah.
Pray they're in cover 2 or 4.
Right.
And they got it.
Right.
And as soon as he hit that, they high-fived each other on the sideline.
Right. And Jefferson's all mad that he didn't get the ball in
He ain't
that.
supposed to get it.
But you know, unless
Yes.
Xavier McKinney, we're going to look at that play too.
Yes.
But unless Xavier McKinney goes deep, you know,
You'll
and he's
get
in
it.
a pickle because he
Yes.
has to either take Naylor back
Yes.
or Jefferson, and you're going to take Jefferson every time.
Yes. But
So-
in this case, we got what we scripted. We got what we wanted.
Right.
So and we'll explain the XO, please stay tuned for that, because that's when you call scheming things open. Another one, the third down play at the end of the game.
Yeah.
You see that
We're
coaches
going to look at that too.
high five each other. That's what we want. So in other words, their coaches had a great game plan, and you have to give them credit for that.
Yeah.
So it makes us, as any other coach that plays Minnesota, these guys have game plans, but they also evolve in during the game.
Right.
And that's why we could not beat Denver in Super Bowl 32. Had we evolved during the game,
Right.
maybe we beat Denver. But we stuck to what, because it's baked in the cake. We know what they're running. They know what we're running.
Yeah.
We just don't know when we'll get it. And those two plays stick out in my mind for your point.
The only advantage the Packers have, I think, with this is they have 4 games against 2 division opponents to learn a heck of a lot of stuff about, you know, how those teams dissected them, what they thought about them.
Like a reconnaissance mission.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean, you know, you're absolutely going to win the third time, but if you don't learn, you know, from what got you beat in those, and then they had the Philly game, which to me the Philly game was a toss-up the whole way. It was kind of whoever had the ball last. They got a ton of yards on Philly in that game, so that would be interesting if they play them in the first round. But I don't know. They put themselves in such a bad position that, you know, like if they had a home game, you would think, okay, well, they could start to get it going. They're going to be like the 2010 team and hope they can, you know, go to Philadelphia, win, then have to go and play the number 1 seed and win, and then have to go and play probably
Here's
another.
why I'm confident they can do it. Matt LaFleur, it gives me confidence. It lowers my anxiety. Here's why. Like my nephew asked me, which one of these teams can you beat? I said, they could beat them all. He said, what do you mean? I said, they could beat every team, including Kansas City, Buffalo, if they meet them in the Super Bowl, anybody in the NFC. The one person they can't beat is themselves. They can't beat themselves. They're losing that fight.
Yeah.
They missed 2 field goals. He throw you a lollipop pick. And the first half, they should have been up 21-0, but they weren't. You were hanging around.
Right.
And you didn't take advantage of your opportunity. That's the frustrating thing for coaches, because they had some good stuff that was working, but it was always pre-snap penalties. That drives coaches crazy. But LaFleur knows he can beat anybody, but he also knows his team is averaging 25 years old.
Yeah, the question is, they can beat everybody except those 5 teams because of talent. To beat those other 5 teams, it's got to be talent plus execution plus
and
brains.
Don't beat yourself.
Plus, don't
Yes.
beat yourself. Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's true. I think
Yes.
they have to play well above their maturity.
Yes.
To
And they
win
can
those
do that.
games.
In the Dallas game, Dallas was scoring 50,000 points a game. They went there and destroyed them.
Yeah.
And even in the San Francisco game, they were beating them.
Yeah.
And then guess what? They started playing against themselves instead of San Francisco.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they didn't have a kicker too.
Right.
But, so that's my only point is the coaches, you know, you roll your sleeves up. The sleeves are pushed up now. Because that's when you know if your mom is angry or if your dad is angry. When you either roll them up, let's go to work, or push them up, let's stay at work until we get it.
One of the things, last thing, and then we'll go on to the Bears game, but watching the Detroit-San Francisco game, the thing that kept popping up to me, and I'm not smart enough about football to know why this is happening, but both the 49ers and the Lions were so good on play action that there was always some guy, you know, towards the end of that game when they needed a big play, George Kittle was across the middle, wide open, or for Detroit, you know, either Laporta or someone was running wide open off a play action. And I don't see the Packers hitting those plays quite as much. And you would think with Josh Jacobs, man, play action would be money. Do you see anything that's holding them back there?
That's a good question. I played on one of the best defense of all time. I mean, when we went to the Super Bowl. We were number 1 defense, best team in offense, all 3 phases. So being on the number 1 team, I used to always say, what get on my nerves more than anything what teams would do? Movement, we hate it. Shifts, we hate it. If a quarterback's good with ball handling, like the Steve DeBergs of the world, we hate that. We want our offense to come out, get set, and never move. The thing about those 2 offenses, what you saw, somebody's always moving. Jared Goff, even Brock Purdy, even Jordan Love is one of the best play action ball handling quarterbacks. But 11 has to always be moving. 80 has to always be moving. 85 has to be off the ball and looking like he's going over. You got to do misdirection stuff to create separation. Wide receivers have to shift over motion. That kind of stuff creates open. Like some of the runs they did with, I went back and looked with Malik against Tennessee. And Tennessee was, at the time, was a good defense. And you hand it off, Jacob's gone.
Yeah.
And even when Brooks, when these guys come in, you got to do more movement. And this offense has a lot of movement. They got to go back to that. And then I think they'll be able to create the opportunities.
I think they also have to push the edges a little bit. I think Jacobs is so much between the tackles that it makes it easier to defend them. So we don't see them do bootlegs much because nobody's really thinking they're going to run outside.
Well, that'll come back when 88 gets healthy. Because he caught one pass, I think.
Yeah.
Musgrave, he was their guy.
I don't know. Maybe
he's the deep over guy. So.
But if they're not biting on you going outside, your run going outside, then I don't know how effective their play action is. So I don't know if that's a factor or not. But let's go ahead to the Bears game. Okay, so the Packers right now, if they have season ended today, would be the 7th seed. Yeah. They need Washington to lose to Dallas, and they need to beat Chicago to gain the 6th seed, which would get them either probably the Rams or the Buccaneers. Otherwise, they're going to Philadelphia to face the number 2 seed. How do you play this game?
You're facing Saquon Barkley. You're not facing the number 2 seed. Saquon Barkley is So, but okay, this is how I view it.
Okay.
And this is fair. They can beat any of those teams. They just can't beat themselves. I mean, but
Okay, so how do you handle going into the Bears game?
I'm not playing number 8. If you said if I was Matt LaFleur, this is how I would handle it. I'm not playing number 8, and I'm not playing number 56. You're not playing. Period.
56, huh?
Nope. I'm not playing him at all. He's going to have a ball cap on and a sweatsuit and cheer 45, and 7 ain't playing. And I'm not trying to minimize a victory over Chicago, but I also want to make sure those 2 guys are healthy for next week. Because without those 2 guys, well, 23 ain't playing either, so I'm glad you didn't ask about that.
Right, 33.
Yeah.
What about 33?
Yes, I would definitely play Evan.
If he's healthy.
Yeah, if he's healthy, I would definitely play him. I would definitely play Zane.
What about Watson?
No. He's going to get the same view he just got. No. Because you have to understand that we've never really been 100% healthy. I don't even know if in training camp, because 56 missed most of training camp.
Yeah, they've been
didn't play
healthier than most teams, though. but,
That's true.
you know.
That's true. But remember, Jordan missed 3 games. And his numbers are pretty damn good, to be honest. But it's about 5 guys I would not play, Tom. I just wouldn't play. Because I got to make sure that 2 things can be true. We can beat Chicago, which we barely did the first time. And at the same time, I got to be healthy the following week, because I don't have a bye week. I got to play the following week, and it's going to be on the road.
Right.
So I think I can beat Chicago, which they played Seattle really tough. I mean, they lost 6-3.
Yeah.
But would you play those guys if you was LaFleur?
I agree. I wouldn't. I would
A
say
few guys you wouldn't.
I would say to myself, okay, look, our path to the Super Bowl is on the road for 3 straight weeks. It's going to be grueling.
Yes.
I don't care who we play in the first round. It doesn't matter.
Fact.
You know, you got to get to.
Fact.
You got to beat 3 good teams to get there. Let's treat it like a bye. You know, in fact, you mentioned it when we were talking earlier off camera. I would probably get Willis in there at some point.
Yes.
You know,
Malik's playing.
You know, just
He's
treat it
playing.
like a bye and give those guys their legs, because it is you got to play for the long run now. You know, you're going to have to beat Philly at some time, whether it's week 1 or week 2.
Yes.
What difference?
This is the last time we're playing in this stadium.
Right.
So Malik warm up after the first quarter. I wouldn't be shocked if I didn't see Jordan play at all. I would be okay with that. Malik is like a starter. He's undefeated.
Yeah.
He's better than some. I mean, so you're not a backup quarterback, but I would have to activate Clifford, right?
I would, I would practice Jordan the entire week.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's starting.
Oh, yeah.
And then let Willis either play him a quarter or then start Willis.
And I would run my stuff though, because fans ask me and pick and say, do you not show something? Listen, it's baked in the cake. Because I don't want to confuse my guys with new stuff against Chicago. Just run your stuff.
I would start working on Philly stuff in practice.
Oh, they already did that. They're working on that.
This coming week against Chicago.
They got Philly tape. They're working on Tampa.
But run some of that stuff in practice this week. Give him 2 weeks of work against Philly's
We run that when we kick
defense.
y'all out. So just don't tell Belichick that
I'd
we're doing
be
it.
interested to see later if that was really the case. But
well, no, we have people designated to scout these teams. You know that.
Well, but
I know
to
what you
practice, they're probably going to practice against Chicago.
Yeah.
You know, forget that. Practice against Philly's defense, and then whatever Chicago throws at you, you'll deal with it in the game.
Yes.
You know?
No, you're right. But the good thing about it, real quick, nobody's been able to run the ball on them the last 5 weeks.
True.
You can't run the ball on them.
Yeah.
So, and I got to get Halfley and the staff a lot of credit for that because I'm thinking it's going to be one of those years. Remember they were the 15 in one year and they gave up 2,000 yards a week, it seemed like, but they were scoring on offense. So the recipe is score 30, hold the team to 17. So that's my prediction.
Yeah.
You beat Chicago by scoring 30 points and holding them to 17. Because I'm going to tell you something about Chicago. One of my best friends, Jason, he's the anchor at Spectrum News 1. Huge Bears fan. And his face lit up. He said, you know what this would mean if the Bears would beat the Packers? It can do a lot for the momentum. And my uncle and aunt live in Aurora, Illinois. My aunt's a Packer fan, but my uncle, he said, this is our season. So don't take them lightly.
But who cares? Because
I know, but
you're going to be the 7th seed. I mean, Washington's not losing to Dallas.
We're trying to create some winning momentum because it stopped after Minnesota.
I mean, I'm not saying lose it, but I would still put all my attention into Philadelphia at this point.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So 30 to 17. That's my prediction.
Okay, that sounds good. We shall see how that plays out. We'll see who LaFleur decides he's going to play, whether we're on target or not with that.
Hey, real quick, before don't be arguing with my coach when you're asking questions. I don't like that.
No.
You just ask a question and you be quiet. Don't be up there debating with my coach.
All right.
Or I'm going to have to pull your credentials from this show.
Okay.
Yeah, I
You
heard
say
you.
so.
I'll just, yeah.
All right. Who you got to thank before we? Oh, and be sure you go to X's and O's because we also have. I forgot to mention this. We have a really good look at Edgerrin Cooper, who
A bonus play?
Yeah, who is a phenomenal player. But we're going to point out that as good as he is, he's still young and he's still making mistakes. How they fix that, how they put him into that defense, man, he's a good player though. Potential is there for great things.
I'm excited that he's out there. I have no anxiety when 56 is out there. So I'll take whatever he gives us. But please stay tuned for that. But I want to thank Pick and Save, of course, one of the best partners I've ever had. I'm developing my cooking show, so a majority of all of my ingredients come from Pick and Save and Metro Market. And I want to thank the MilwaukeeWindowGuys.com all year. They've been giving fans great discounts on windows and doors. Sooner or later, Tom is going to get his. And we also want to thank Mike for helping us because Bill is in the bullpen because he's big time.
Deserves some vacation time.
Yeah. Big time people get vacation time. Mike works. We're working. Bill, I didn't say that. Tom said it. Thank you. But I want to also thank the fans. I want to thank you guys. I think we have millions of views over the season. Thank you so very much. And we'll do our playoff edition next week. And you will be blogging for the game, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Don't be disagreeing with the fans. The fans are always right.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Yep. Please join us next week, too. And we'll have a preview of whoever the Packers are playing. And don't forget X's and O's. We got some good stuff coming up.
Yes.
We will see you next week.
Bye.